very few people go overseas and travel because the television's always telling people, oh, it's dangerous over there, you can't travel. And you'll find that most Americans who do travel, if they try to just get out and travel around the world, they find they can't get in to a lot of countries. They go through Europe and they try getting down through Europe and into places such as Egypt to have a look at the pyramids and things like this. And they find it very, very difficult to do these things simply because they are Americans. What's wrong with this picture, folks? If the American government was actually going out and helping people, and all of our governments was going out and helping people, then we would not be subject to this type of treatment overseas. And if you actually get to meet people and get pen pals with people and make phone calls to people and get to know people in other countries and find out what's going on over there, and you find that these are wonderful, wonderful people. Most people from most countries, folks, are wonderful people. They really are. And then you find that their countries are being destroyed by our countries. And this is being allowed to occur mostly because the citizens of all of our countries are brainwashed by the propaganda that they're fed by the television, none of which is based in reality. All television comes from the ruling families, folks. That's where all the news comes from. So what's it all about, folks? Surely it's not just about control. One really has to wonder whether it is simply about control, because a lot of people say, well, they're doing this because they wish to control all the resources of the planet. They wish to control all the money, they wish to enslave the people and control all the resources, and have just enough people alive who will be able to work the machine for them. And this is quite a viable proposition as to why these people would be doing this. But there are other things, there are darker reasons, and there are darker things that are occurring that really do make one wonder who is really in control on this planet. One thing that really does spring to mind is chemtrails. Now folks, don't think that chemtrails aren't real and that chemtrails are some kind of conspiracy theory, because chemtrails are very, very real. There's been tests on these things. They have been showing incredibly exorbitant amounts of aluminium, barium, strontium, all sorts of things. It's suspected that Morgellons syndrome is coming from chemtrails as well. It's been suspected that they have been instrumental in killing off a lot of the bees, a lot of which I believe has also been done by the genetically modified crops. Now you've got to look at what's happening here on a large scale. This is the poisoning of the planet. This is the destruction of the food chain on this planet. And you look at this and you say, well, this is being done by corrupt corporations that are doing this in order to profiteer. But it is in nobody's interests to kill the planet. This is not profiteering. Even no matter how corrupt your corporation is and how money-grabbing your corporation is, killing the food chain kills the planet and kills the people on the planet. And that's where we're heading for, folks. We are heading for a genetic and biological genocide of all life on this planet because of the actions of the people who are in control of the corporations that are doing the damage to this planet. So you've got to ask, who is in control of these people? Who are these people? Why would they be doing what they are doing? Because it is not in their best interests as human beings to be doing this as well. Because at the rate they're going, in another 100 years, this planet will not support human life, simply because of the breakdown in the food chain. Not because of any global warming, or because of any nuclear wars, or any holocaust, or any type of pollution that we're doing. The Earth can recover from most of what we're doing to it, but the one thing that it cannot recover from is the breakdown of the food chain, because this has the potential to kill all biological life on this planet. So one really must ask, why is this being done, and who is really in charge here? Now, even though these are significant questions that seriously do need answering, there is something else that needs addressing that is even more important than having those questions answered at this present point in time. And what we need to address is the fact that what is happening to the earth is happening because we are allowing it to happen. This is the bottom line, folks. We may not be to blame for what is happening inasmuch as we the people are not doing this ourselves, but we are contributing to it being done by our failure to acknowledge the situation that we're in and our failure to address the situation that we're in. So, okay, what we've got to do is we've got to talk to people, we've got to wake them up. And we've especially got to talk to people like the police and the military. We have to reach these people because these people truly are the most brainwashed in all society. This is, I mean, a lot of the experimental vaccines that they give to all the soldiers and things, God knows what's in all of these things. You can't trust any of these vaccinations. These are just insidious. The police really do need to understand that we, the people, need their support. We need their support in making this a better world and in addressing the criminal element that is in control of all of our governments. And this is worldwide, folks. It's happening over all governments. I mean, don't think yourself that any country is free of this. None of them are free. Now, a lot of people are waking up to what's going on, that we are heading for a biological catastrophe in a very, very short amount of time, if this is allowed to continue along its present course. So a lot of people are waking up to what's going on. So the elite are working very, very hard to institute as many new laws as possible. They really want to disarm everybody. They want to crash the economy, introduce this new currency, because currency is the way they've controlled most of the world up to this point. They know that if they can control the money system, they can control the government, they can control the people. You control countries and control people by control of the money system. You control the power and wealth of countries by controlling global oil. This is why these two things are so important. And we don't need either of them. We don't need oil. We don't need money. We don't need any of these things. Human race would be far better off without those two things. So they're working very hard to crash these systems before we realize that we don't need them and we start sort of doing things on our own. But folks, even if we are going to use the systems of money and the systems of oil, we're going to gradually phase them out, introduce realistic technology instead of oil-based technology, and start gradually phasing these things out and building a better society. The first thing we have to do is we have to remove the 300 families who are in charge from power. We have to do this by peaceful and legal means. Legal, when I say legal, we the people are the law. We the people control the government. The government does not control the people. Here we have, as I said earlier, here we have 1% of the world's population controlling 99% of the world's population. And they do that simply because they have convinced us that this is the way things should be. But one really only has to look around at the state of the world to see that no, this is definitely not the way things should be. And this has all been done by design, this has all been orchestrated. And the people that are carrying out this plan and doing all of this stuff, they know that there are a lot of people waking up to reality. So they are doing everything in their power to kill off as much of the human race as they possibly can. They're doing this through the release of toxins such as this swine flu. I talked about this last week with Dr. Horowitz. There is absolutely no chance at all that this Mexican flu could have developed naturally. There is also no chance that it could have sprung up in Mexico the way it did, containing what it did at the time that it did. This flu has been engineered into being. There's absolutely no doubt about this. And if this flu isn't the big release of one that's going to take over the world, then there is one down the track that they're going to release. This, I believe, and a lot of other people believe, was a beta test to test the viability of releasing a flu, to test how the propaganda machine would go, to scare people into taking vaccines that are going to break down their immune system for when the real thing comes along. As Dr. Horowitz said, this was done in order to prime the population for the big release, which will probably happen later this year or earlier next year. And this has all been orchestrated, folks. Make no mistake about this. This is being orchestrated by these ruling families, simply because people are waking up. So this is what needs to be addressed. This is happening because we comply with it. So it's very important that the police and the military and all the institutions and forces that are repressing the good and honest people, it's very important that these people wake up to the fact that they are suppressing themselves. They are eliminating their own bloodlines. They are eliminating the rights of their families, of their children, of their brothers and their sisters when they repress the people. And their true duties as police officers and as military is to defend the people and to defend the country. It is not to defend the government or to carry out the wishes of a criminal elite that is controlling most of the planet via manipulation of a completely and utterly corrupt monetary system and a fake war against a mythical enemy of their own invention.